Hello everyone, we've got Dungeon Shooter Prototype. This is a game I've not played before. We're going to give it a playtest. See if we can give some useful feedback. I've got the game page open here. It says make your way through the dungeon by carefully bouncing your shots off the walls to hit your enemies before they hit you. This first prototype release doesn't have a lot in terms of content, but it includes an editor that will let you create your own custom levels and dungeons and play them. Alright, so I've not seen anything past this screen here. It does say Untitled Tanks Clone 2 prequel. I believe there was like a Nintendo Tanks game or something that this was inspired by. I never played that game, but that's the impression I got from some things I saw the developer posting. But yeah, I don't know anything about this game beyond that it appears to be some kind of a top-down shooter. So haven't seen anything past what we're seeing here right now. Looks like we got mouse control. So something that jumps out to me immediately, I like the way that you have this kind of trail, this sort of line being drawn between the cursor and the character, because one thing I've noticed with playing these top-down shooters that have this mouse-controlled aiming is that it's a little difficult to... Your brain can't really track the two separate objects on different places on the screen very well. It's kind of like you have to switch your attention between both. So for instance, if you're looking where you're aiming, you can't necessarily see like your character as well to like avoid attacks and stuff like that. So this kind of thing I really appreciate. You don't see this very often, but that seems to have the effect of making me feel like I can track both objects easier. So that's cool. It looks like we have quite slow movement. Alright, so that thing shot... Oh, it's still shooting here, so it looks like it does like one bounce and then disappears. So looks like I have a very similar sort of effect. Actually going to check again real quick the game page just to make sure. Okay, it didn't mention any controls. Right, so as far as I know, I can shoot. I can try some different buttons here just in case anything happens. So it doesn't look like anything's happening. Oh, looks like I can do three. Oh, looks like I can shoot myself. Looks like I can put 3 bullets out there, and then presumably have to wait for one to disappear before I can shoot again. And it looks like the bullets can collide with each other. I assume I can collide them with enemy bullets. In theory, I didn't mean to shoot that guy just now, but that did happen. Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, this is very early. It looks like the visuals are really nice because apparently the developer is quite competent in terms of artwork, but I believe that we're not going to see too much in terms of complexity and such here. It's interesting, the shifting. Can I pause this? Oh, we even have pause. That's nice. So a small detail, but I would prefer to see like when you complete a level for the game to pause for a moment before it does this transition. It's a little jarring to have the transition begin like the instant that the bullet hits the enemy, that kind of thing. It's nice to have... I don't know how you describe that, but just having that moment where it's like, okay, your brain can kind of process everything that happened, and then the transition happens. So yeah, I guess these are just placeholder blocks that are moving around. So in most games that are top-down shooters like this, I would prefer to see the player's projectiles move a lot faster. My cat's actually being bothersome at the moment. Hey, kitty. Come on. I'll do something. Sorry about that. So I don't want the cat like unplugging my computer cables or something. Yeah, so most games I'd prefer to see much faster velocity on the player's projectiles because it's like so much more responsive. but this appears to be designed around some idea of symmetry in terms of the enemy attacks and the player attacks being basically identical in the way they function. So, you know, that's completely valid. And I assume that the game that this is based off of had a similar quality about it. And it being so apparently some kind of a tank game, which tank games are like really old, and they certainly have that sense of a degree of symmetry between them. So the idea of like the player character being the most important one or whatever it is not just to plow through tons of enemies, but rather like each enemy kind of has a similar sort of capability as you do, but you have to kind of outsmart them and like outposition them and such to kind of take them down one by one. That seems like, you know, just as a broad sense, when I think of the idea of tank gameplay, tends to have that feeling of a little bit more symmetrical than some other game types might. But yeah, I guess we have bouncing off walls and stuff, which seems somewhat important. And I assume that the bullets just go as far as they can until it hits something else. So yeah, I mean, in theory, I should be able to hit this guy. I just have to like get the aim right. Oh, it's not quite gonna work there because of the wall. To actually get the angles right, you have to put a little bit more focus into the aim there. It's not really... I don't know, it feels like more like playing pool or something. You don't just kind of throw it out there willy-nilly. You have to actually focus a bit to actually process the angles in an accurate manner there. I'm a little curious about where the colliders... Oh, we have lives. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, on the top left there's lives. So I thought I'd just experiment a bit to try and figure out like where the collision is on the player exactly. That's usually kind of an important thing I look for. In this game right now, it doesn't seem like there's enough actually threatening my life to even care about it that much. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything obnoxious in terms of how you have the collision set up on the character. But I know a lot of people like, you know, make the collider too big or something, and it always kind of bothers me. So in that case, there's like a lot of stuff all of a sudden that I was not being careful to account for, and I because I can't move quickly, I couldn't just like move out of the way to kind of dodge all that. I should have sort of planned that ahead of time, apparently. So that's interesting to consider. Or I guess in theory I could have tried to shoot one of the bullets or something. Looks like they kill each other. Oh no. I guess I could spam more attacks than I am because I do get 3 of them. Well, yeah, okay, so that time apparently something hit me. I didn't even see it that time. I was actually looking at where I was aiming, so it's kind of like what I was talking about before. Even though this sort of line being drawn between things helps to kind of track things, it doesn't mean I can actually see like what's going on here if I'm looking at a different part of the screen if a bullet hits me, so something to keep in mind. Oh, yeah. See, I'm just not paying enough attention. The game does kind of give you a certain sense of security where it doesn't feel like you're being threatened very much, and you get like a little careless, I guess. And you know, when I'm playtesting, I usually don't focus quite as well as I would if I was playing while not recording and talking and such, but even so, I do notice that. So it looks like your own bullets can collide with each other. Yeah, that's the thing I'm noticing is it's really easy to just kind of to look at the aiming cursor most of the time, and then sometimes the bullets kind of go towards your guy, and it's easy to not notice how close they come. Oh gosh, for some reason I thought I could avoid that, but with how limited the move speed is, didn't happen. Wow, okay. So yeah, I am a bit used to games that have kind of a higher move speed, maybe like even a slightly smaller collider on the character or something. So it's like you can do a lot more just kind of weaving and dodging in between bullets when they're coming at you. Whereas in this game, it's more about you definitely have to recognize it ahead of time and then kind of try not to put yourself into bad situations in the first place, I suppose. Oh gosh, yeah, see that? That was a little weird because I guess I was, you know, I think the last death there was kind of an element of just getting too close to the enemy. And because the move speed is so restricted, at that range, once the bullet comes at you, you don't have much ability to move out of the way in time. So that's kind of, it's a little bit annoying. I tend to find that kind of thing a bit annoying in certain games where that kind of pops up where it's like, you know, the solution to like, what did you do wrong that time? It was literally just getting too close to the enemy. Which kind of, I don't know, something about that just kind of feels bad to me. Like I feel like I should be able to get kind of close. Like, you know, obviously there's extreme examples where maybe it's just stupid, but like you don't want to just walk up to point blank range for no reason. But yeah, sometimes that feels kind of bad, but I understand it kind of just is part of the design here so far. So I think that guy just killed himself. I would like to see a little bit more contrast in terms of the character itself. I mean, I could say this thing kind of blends into, I suppose, to the environment. Obviously, these placeholder guys, they really stand out, so that's not a problem as they are. But I do feel like my character doesn't stand out quite as much as I want. It's nothing really bad, but it might help just a little bit to have a little more contrast in the general visual design here. And I kind of wanted to complete this. I thought it would be kind of straightforward, but it is pretty easy to just drop lives here and there if you're not really focused. So ended up taking a bit longer. Now, I assume that these plant things and the cubes are basically the same, except the cubes are mobile, something like that. Sorry, the cat's making so much noise, but he is very energetic. Hey! He's really just trying his hardest to be a bother for the recording process here. I keep looking over at him. I almost died there. Oh gosh darn it. Yeah, so it's another situation where it's just the kind of hold on a second. Hey, you gotta do something else. Do something else. Alright, sorry about that. His name's Toby, so I don't know how he found out a way to be so loud just now. So I don't know what I was saying. I guess something about, getting too close to the enemy again and then just not being able to react to the bullets, because even if you react to them, you can't actually move fast enough to get out of the way. So, I mean, of course, there's ways to adjust that. You don't even necessarily have to increase the move speed if you just wanted to shrink the collider on the player down a little bit. That would give you more room that you could avoid things. Wow, that was kind of annoying. I didn't count for the thing bouncing off there. That was stupid. But yeah, that's something you could do. But apart from that, it just seems like there's a certain... There's an element you just have to kind of learn, that you don't want to get too close to the enemies, but it's not... I don't know, it's not intuitive, I guess. It's not like an explicitly... I guess explicit isn't the right word, but it's not obvious necessarily to someone playing that should be an idea. Like, don't get too close to the enemies. I don't know that everyone would necessarily like figure that out, because it seems like something that players could just die for the same reasons over and over without really realizing that, like, oh, it's not just because you're too slow and the game developer was too dumb to make your character move fast enough or something. Maybe it's like because you didn't realize that you could stay back further and maybe avoid those kind of situations. I don't know if that made sense the way I explained it, but yeah, I could imagine some players not really quite figuring that out and then finding this kind of frustrating or something. But it's understandable. It's not as much meant to be a game where you're just weaving through tons of bullets and such. But yeah, so I don't know how long I should keep playing this. I don't know how many levels there are. Had a number of careless deaths here and there. Oh, you do? Okay, so it does root your feet when you shoot as well, and that's interesting. So that also takes away some of your mobility. So yeah, I'm curious where the game is going to go from here. I presume that it's being designed around this concept where it's rather slow-paced and it's more about, attacking from a distance and not doing what I just did. Not thinking you can always dodge things, but to kind of pay more attention to your positioning and such. I'm curious what kinds of gameplay elements might kind of work with that and help lean into that. Oh gosh. Because I don't really know, off the top of my head, like what else would complement that kind of concept. I don't remember. I think you can shoot yourself. I don't actually. I don't want to try it out. Alright, I think that guy shot himself or something, or this guy shot him somehow. I don't know how that happened, but... I don't know if this would be worth doing. It occurred to me maybe it'd be nice to have some kind of visual indication of whether a given bullet had bounced yet or not. So like, obviously you can't really like track all of the bullets on the screen at the same time with your eyeballs. So you might just see a bullet coming at you and not necessarily know if it's going to bounce off the wall behind you or not or something. So seems like it'd be kind of hard to represent that visually, but maybe it would be worth doing just to give the player a little bit more information to work with. I thought I was over here at first, and my brain didn't fully process which object on the screen was me when the transition ended there. Oh, yeah, I just completely ignored the bounce effect of that. So yeah, it does seem like, I don't know, there's not much going on the screen in general. Like, everything is sort of slow paced, but it does seem like it's a little hard to keep track of all the bullets and everything, just in terms of the amount of focus it takes. And I think it's because of the fact that everything bounces. So it's like you can't just pay attention to the trajectory of the bullets. You have to pay attention to that plus whatever next trajectory they'll take after they collide with the surface. So that seems to add a lot of complexity all of a sudden, sort of unexpected. Um, but yeah, I do feel like if I was in a different situation, playing this more casually and not recording or whatever, this would be a case where that would help quite a bit, because I get a little a certain boost in my concentration compared to doing it this way. So I feel like that would help here. Alright, still more levels. So yeah, I guess there's a level editor, and it appears that, I mean, the only things in the game so far are the 2 enemies and some walls, and presumably some cosmetics or whatever. I don't think that these affect gameplay. I hope they don't. You do collide with them, but I don't notice them exerting any sort of effect on the characters, so it's very sensible. I'm just spamming stuff because I assume that it's like one of them has to hit, Okay. Yeah, so don't forget to try the level. I guess I'll do that real quick. Let's go ahead and click on the editor. So we have level editor and dungeon editor. Interesting. And I guess there's a tutorial of some sort, or I don't know. Play, save, load, reset, exit. So I can right click. So that's very simple and intuitive. It is slightly annoying that the highlight is so bright compared to the cursor itself, because it's harder for me to track where my cursor is, because the sort of these 4 corners highlight thing is kind of stealing my eyes away from like the precise part of where my cursor is. So I wonder if you can maybe make that slightly darker or something. It's such a small detail, but it'll just make it feel like my mousing is more accurate, you know. It does seem like if I go slightly off the edge here and then click and hold and then try to like drag, like it doesn't count it. Even if I'm like, oh, I'm right clicking right here, it's not working. Wonder why that was. So now I'm left clicking here. There's something going on here. It's slightly buggy. I don't know if it's something to do with being right around here or just close to the edges. Seems like if I click off here, then I try to click here, it doesn't work. But then if I move the cursor up by one, then it works. Okay, I think it's if my cursor goes out of bounds and then back in bounds, then you can hear me clicking, it doesn't work. So then I have to move it and then it'll work again. So I think there's a little bit of a bug there. So that should help you out, but I don't know. Oh, can I click up here or something? Can I don't know, scroll with the mouse wheel? Is there, oh, enter text. I don't know, what did I hit? Oh, R. Oh, there's buttons down here. So R is preview, whatever that means. I have no idea what's going on here, I guess. Oh, I think it's because oh, I get it. Okay, so there's an isometric view. So this is gonna, well, I guess it's orthogonal, but it's kind of confusing to look at. It looks like it changes to a different size room or something, but it's actually projecting it at an angle here. I hit R, whereas this is directly top down, so that's interesting. So I guess this is actually 3D rendered, despite looking like 2D assets, I assume. E says family. Okay, so this is root here. Oh, so I hold E and then I just hover. Stone dungeon, then we have, oh, okay. A little weird. I see what you're going for. That's sort of like a tree set up here. Walls, floors, decor, objects. Player spawn. Sniper, slime. Okay, so it is a little annoying that there's no clicking involved. I think in particular I notice it when like I want to decide on something in the final tree menu here. I don't know what you call that, the final level of the tree menu here. So like when I'm here, it's like, okay, well, I'm looking at these and something about just like hovering over them and then instantly choosing it and then going out of the menu entirely. Sort of annoying because I feel like I might want to just like hover over something with the mouse and then maybe change my mind or something, and I don't want to have to like go back through the whole menu again to get back to where I was, if that makes sense. On top of that, I think it would help to you might potentially want something like a tooltip or something, like if you just hover over something, maybe a little tooltip pops up with some more info that you want to give the player about what that object is, you know. That's a pretty typical case for UI stuff like this. So yeah, I think it would just feel better to have to actually click on these things, even potentially in this part. I don't know. Just feels like there's more intention behind it, so the player is not like the UI isn't doing the things that the player doesn't want. And maybe the player is just like horrible with the mouse or something, you know, and they get annoyed at it. It's not impossible. So we got some decor. I wonder also, it might be nice if you could go back in the menu here too, with like say Okay, instead of it just going on hover, maybe it's on click, but then like if I right click, then it would go back in the tree. Left click would select one of them. That'll probably be nice. But in any case, we've got, here's the water. Basic floor, pattern floor. Guess it's sort of a, I mean, this is mostly cosmetic. I believe okay, we've got walls. Oh no, the water isn't cosmetic, but walls and water are the two obstacles, I believe. I don't think we've got doorway, which is, oh, I guess that doesn't have a, wait, what is the, or is that because it's placed in the wrong part, or it's supposed to be, I don't know, maybe that's just not fully implemented yet or something. But I think those are just other, that's just another cosmetic sort of thingy, or it's just a different looking wall or something. It occurs to me you could put like walls and like the water under the same menu or something because they're like both obstacles, but I don't know that it matters necessarily. But I think that's all we have is just the walls and the water for now, and then the two enemies, and then everything else is cosmetic. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what an interesting level would look like here. It's not really much to work with in terms of what actually generates interest here, so probably don't want like really narrow pathways like this because it doesn't really appear to work well with the gameplay as it is. But yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. Just fiddling. You should do this kind of thing where you have a big kind of empty area and then maybe an area around that you can go. In any case, Q is tile. Oh, so it's sort of a shortcut to this particular menu for some reason. Oh, I guess it's the last one. It's interesting. So I guess let me just click on play there, and I didn't place the player spawn, so it doesn't really work. I guess you're gonna at some point want to check for that. I don't know what this, oh, okay. So that does that. So if I want to actually play, I need a player. I'll just put him over. Okay, so over there. I guess right click. Okay, right click only removes the type of thing you have selected. I didn't even think about that, and that's interesting. Okay. But yeah, so this, you can apparently put this all over the place, which I assume is not going to be the behavior you want in the end because you only have one effectively. So you're probably going to want that to be like anywhere you click, it's going to move this rather than create a new instance of it, right? And we just put some random dudes here. I don't know. Called a sniper. They'll probably just. Well, I don't know if these guys will kill each other, but at some point they might. I don't know if they try and shoot you through the walls, and in that case they might kill each other, or one of them will kill the other. Probably too many walls, and I don't know. Let's go ahead and play this anyways. So, okay, these guys are trying to bounce the shots. It's like, I guess they have some sort of sense of how they can aim at you through bouncing like that. I wasn't really even thinking about the bouncing when I was creating this level here, so that's probably something that would be worth considering more. But yeah, it's probably a little too claustrophobic. Or I don't know, maybe you could have a certain mixture of more open and more claustrophobic, and I don't know. But I assume, yeah, these guys have some kind of a mathematical means to. Oh, well, I don't know which thing hit me. I wasn't even watching close enough, but looks like we can hit R to restart. Okay, that's nice. But yeah, so this, I feel like it's a little limited by the fact that it's only on one screen, but it might be. I mean, I guess I need to see more of what's planned for the future to know, like, what else is possible here. It does give me a little bit of that feeling of maybe this is like a little bit small to work with. But yeah, interested to see what other gameplay elements will be worked into here and how that works out. So hopefully this was a useful video for you. I think I'm going to go ahead and not worry about saving that. But let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.